We're right back here at the Gathering Place today, and I'm excited because I have my guest, Demetrius Motion Bullock, and he is an amazing artist, among other things. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So tell us, you started out as an actor.
Originally, yes. Yes. I've done some acting in New York, and I stumbled across it by accident.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a good friend of mine, his sister, had a small directing company, and she was putting up a play, and the only gentleman she had that was in the piece, he had to back out a week before the event went up, the show went up. And her younger sister was like, why don't you ask Motion? Why don't you ask Demetrius? He can do it. He can do it. She gave me the script, and you know, I pushed it into my head and got on the stage, and I was so nervous. I was doing push-ups backstage, waiting for my part to come. But once I touched the stage, just felt so natural, you know. And I did really well. And after the show, a lot of people that were in the audience that came up, because I love getting off the stage and going right into the crowd, and they came up and wanted to know what other performances I've been in. And I was like, no, this is my first one. This is my first one. I actually acted when I was a child, but you know, that was child plays. But that was my first acting gig. From there on, I went on to do quite a few off-Broadway plays. I did some Broadway. I got a stint with commercial, did a couple of movies behind the scene.
All right.
And I won an award as a young actor in a theater production called Duppy with my high school friend Ronald Haney, who wrote the piece. Yeah, we won an award in a women's festival. Wow. We got a chance to be in a women's festival because my co-star in this piece called Duppy was a female, you know, my girlfriend. And which got us, we came in second place in this festival. We won, yeah.
That's awesome. So you started out as an actor, but you've always been drawing.
Yes, I've been drawing since a young child. I think I fell in love with my godbrother who used to draw, and you know, and I used to watch him draw and fell in love with his work and what he was doing, and I used to try to draw like him. Turns out that I had the gift.
Yeah.
You know, I had the gift, and you know, it's amazing how, you know, it's like you find that niche, and sometimes it may spark because it's somebody else's, and you say, oh, I want to do it, and you find out that you have it.
Yeah.
So I started drawing and, you know, trying to draw what he drew, and started looking at things and trying to draw them. It wasn't until I was able to go outside and go to the store on my own, and I would go around the corner on my block in the Bronx, and when I had my allowance, I stumbled across some comic books. Saw some comic books that was hanging from the ceiling in the store on the corner called Archie's, and I got some of the comic books off of there and brought them home, looking at them, and that's where I started learning how to draw techniques and styles and practicing the anatomy and stuff until I started making my own style.
Or you made out of your own?
I later went to school, you know, so I could, you know, put a name to a lot of the things that I learned, you know, freehand. I learned on my own. But originally everything was self-taught.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, everything was self-taught, yeah. So I got into it, and once I found out, you know, all the different mediums, I wanted to explore them. You know, just markers, acrylics, paints, and everything, and currently into the digital world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your son is also an artist as well.
Awesome. Yeah. He's a magnificent artist. He it's because of him that he kind of got me back into you know, believing in the comic books and creating books all together. At the age of 5, when I was downstairs in my basement drawing, and he was around me and he was just watching me draw. He had stumbled across some of my comic books and fell in love with Spider-Man, and you know, in that whole Marvel era, which was, you know, big for me at that time when I was young. But while he was watching me draw, looking at the comic books, he said to me, "Daddy, I want to make a book." son say you want to make a book. Okay, son, let's make a book. What you talking about?
Right.
What you got? And he had an idea that he came up with called The Hungry Kid. It was a story about a little boy who was in the house and just wanted to find something to eat. And he gave me his idea, my wife and I, and he told us all about it. And he was running around the house. It came out to be a picture book. We was taking pictures of him while he was telling his story, and we added the words to it. And originally we was just going to make it so that it could be a little book that he could have for himself.
Right.
But then my wife was like, what if we got this published? And she went and she did some research on a company and came across this company called CreateSpace, which is now called KDP Publishing. So it's affiliated with Amazon. And it's for self-published independent artists and stuff. And we went and reached out and got the book made as an actual book. We contacted his principal to tell him that, we had did this book for our son, and we wanted to know if, he could come in and read to the children. And there was like a little silence on the phone at first. And she was like, wow, we've never had anything like that down here. And his Principal Nolan, she, she reached out to the media and told them, and we had a book signing in his kindergarten. Kindergarten during lunchtime, where all the children were coming in and buying his book, and WDEL was there, and it was an amazing event. But because of him starting us along that journey, today I'm able to say that I published over 32 books.
That's
32 books. Yeah, and it started from my son saying, "Daddy, I want to make a book." 32 books.
And you listening and understanding, like, that's what my son want to do, and we're going to make it happen.
And we're going to make it happen. Exactly.
That's so awesome. I remember when I first met you and you saw a photo of me and you drew the photo, and I was like, I got to have that photo. And then that sparked from even in my family, like my son wanted something and everything. And it actually helped them want to do more creative stuff. Like my daughter, she writes. And like when you were telling the story about your son, it made me think about them. It made me think about how a lot of times when you just listen, the child is telling you, like, this is what I want to do. And they need that connection.
Absolutely.
And look how much has blossomed from that. That's what I'm talking about.
For us both, actually.
Yes. Growth.
Like I said, he brought me back to that time of, my childhood, and it just it emerged, the energy and the creativity and everything. And 32 books later, 7 of them are our own. I've helped him with some of his later issues, but he started the ball rolling with the superhero story of him and I, which is Daddy Longlegs and the Inchworm. He came up with that concept and that idea and wrote and illustrated the first issue, and I only helped him with outlining it and coloring it. But now we're up to what's going to be our 5th issue with spin-offs, and he just released another book called The Great Mistake that he's up to a 2nd issue in. Yeah, so, and again, with all that he's done, it's led me to not only with the books, I got back into my art, into drawing and painting, and eventually, which led me to you. As I saw your picture that you had on Instagram, it was art to me. The pose that you had struck, it was a beautiful picture, and I reached out to you and I said, would you mind if I paint that? And you, sure, and here we are.
Yes.
I've got to know you, your
That's
beautiful
how
spirit.
The creative connection is. And a lot of times people don't understand that. And that was one of the many things that a lot of times, even during COVID, like that's when I met you and interviewed you in Delaware, and we went to the Artscape, and you were sharing with me like your experience during COVID and things like that. And I've been wanting to ask a lot of my creative family, what was it that, like, from then to now, what are some of the things that you see, that the good and the bad, what do you see now for yourself, like with your creative journey and your books and everything?
Well, during the COVID period, when it first struck, the ball was really rolling with us as far as we were making appearances, we were traveling, Daddy Longlegs and the Inchworm was the steam was moving. And
we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
So tell me, like during that time, during COVID, from then and now, what's some of the challenges, the good and the bad, that you experienced?
Well, the good and the bad. Let's see, with COVID, the ball had just started rolling with us as far as the daddy long legs and the worm concept. We were making appearances. We were traveling. We were doing speakings at schools. We had just finished that interview with Scholastic magazine, and things were just really, it was really going good. And then all of a sudden, the world shut down. So, and my son had to go to virtual learning. They had to do everything was done on a computer. Um, I would have to be honest and say that his attention and creativity when it came to creating more towards Daddy Longlegs had stopped for a second, because the last thing he wanted to do was sit in front of a screen and draw and stuff. And I tried to keep him focused, but he just went to do his schoolwork, and then he just wanted time to relax. But what happened for me is that a lot of people who were home had started reaching out, and I guess projects that they had sat on for quite some time, now they wanted to explore them. They wanted logos done for a potential business. They had book ideas. So a lot of work had picked up on my end, which had become crazy. At my time I had none. I had none. I was literally doing books, like 3-4 books within 6 months.
Wow.
And I was working. Eventually, my son came around. Once we everybody started getting within our household, we started to get the swing of how, to navigate and, and through this pandemic. And he got back into creating again, and I was able to, join him on that end. And now I'm happy to say that we're pushing forward in it. Throughout that, down here in Delaware, I don't think we was that much affected as much as it was back in my home. Back in my home in New York, because up there we had wanted to go up there to make a couple of appearances at the Schomburg and so on and so forth, where we're pretty known at, but we couldn't.
Right.
We couldn't get back up there. New York had taken a much bigger hit than what we experienced down here. So I mean, in Delaware. So that's what I noticed.
So now with everything, it's built up the momentum because of everything that you experienced. And with your, even with your artwork and the books and everything, because I had an interview recently with Poet Crucial, and you did such an amazing job.
That's my man,
on both of the books, and he said there's another one coming, so I'm excited for that as well. So do you find, like, even with your work, that it just has been really vast with books? Like, where are you? You're not going to stop, right?
No, I'm not going to stop. As long as somebody wants my creative ideas, I'm there for you. If I have the time, I would love to be a part of it. This has always been just a love of mine, and to be able to fulfill, live it out, as something I could do as a living. This is like a dream come true. I walk around with ideas that just spill out into my mind, and so many things I want to get done, and I'm able to do them now. I mean, this has become my full-time, job, and I'm definitely, I'm sort of known.
Yeah, you are. I'm talking about you sort of known.
And people have been, requesting me, and that's very humbling. When somebody wants me to be a part of it. And and through my art, like I said, I met you. I got a chance to meet Crucial, going to Artscape, which is Connie Drummond's location, and I got to see him perform. And so many things he would say through his wordplay, I was able to visualize. It's a picture I want to do for him personally because of one of his poems. But when he reached out to me and asked me about the covers, and I got to read some of his work along with his friends, Artie Bryant and his cousin, who he did the second book with. Again, I could see everything and what I would visualize as far as their representation on the front. So it's an honor. It's an honor.
Now, what about your do you have any other family members that are? This is a fun fact about this guy. He has some amazing people in his background, as far as family members, and one of them in particular. And who is that? Because you know what I'm talking about.
The Grandmaster Flash. Yes, that's my cousin. He just spoke at the Wilmington Library up in in Delaware. I reached out to the library and told him about my cousin, and they had him come on down and come and speak about his mix theory. That's what it's called, the mix theory, and how he came up with the idea of finding the beat and being able to utilize that in the mixture with the beats and bringing it back. Currently, we're working on a children's book. I'm writing his book on the beginning of his story.
That's gonna be
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. It's gonna get done this year because this year they're celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip hop.
Really?
This month, actually.
I did not know that.
Which is going to be at the Wilmington Library as well. Slick Rick is going to be there with KRS-One. My cousin is coming back up there. Yeah, it's going to be really nice. So this year it's going to be pretty big for my cousin. So I'm going to be doing the book, and we're going to release that and be a part of that.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
That's what's up. So was it ever like, I know you do spoken word too. You know this brother is multi-talented.
I can't hold that torch. I can't hold that torch. I can get up there. I'm an actor.
Okay,
I'm an actor. I play a little instrument, but art and acting.
Those are your loves.
I gotta say, spoken word. I wish I could even scratch the surface of what brother like. I've used Crucial. Brother like Crucial can do it. So many others. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's an amazing gift. You know, a lot of people do it, but very few are able to make you see the world that they're speaking on. You know,
it's a beautiful connection. It's a beautiful connection, and I find that with all of the things that creatives do, it has to be a connection. A lot of times people don't understand it. They think that anybody can act, or anybody can draw, or anybody can sing. No, it's a gift.
Right.
You know, and it has to be not just. It can't just sit. You know, you have to connect with people, because once you connect with them, now the spark is like, what is it, when ground wire goes into the ground and it brings electricity to the house. That's exactly how a creative person is.
That's it.
You know, you guys doing the book together. You know, you and your son. You know, it sparked all this. So that's amazing.
Thank you.
That's amazing. Then you have family. That's creative. He's a creative.
Thank you.
Getting his word out. And then he has a book coming out. That's so awesome.
Yes,
I can't wait.
It's an amazing, like you said, the creative, that whole creative aspect is just, it's a wonderful gift to have. You know, while others can, you know, they can go and they can enjoy something, but it's something when you have the ability to create it and put it out there in the world for them to enjoy. Nothing like it.
It makes it better. It's like having every time you do something, it's like, I just had a baby. I just created this. You know, like we were talking about your books and your artwork and stuff. Those are all your babies. And to sit there and actually see it, it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful thing. I'm so glad that I'm a part of your journey and the things that you do. Even like just having conversation with you, because a lot of times people don't get to have the opportunity to sit down and talk with an artist. You know, so I'm very, very humble about that.
Well, so am I. Be in your presence. Thank you.
Well, thank you again. How can people stay in contact with you? The best way?
Contact me on social media. You could do Instagram, which is my name, Demetrius, DEMITRIUS _motion, MOTION _Bullock, BULLOCK. You could go there and start there. Everything else is connected.
Everything is on there, man. Like
everything
you can see all his
there.
Work, all his work. Send him a message. Let him comment.
I respond to my DMs. Yep.
Well, thank you again, brother.
Oh, thank you.
And please let me know about that Grandmaster Flash. I definitely want to come and support. That's my era right there.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about that era is that it was no holds bars. There was real stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the difference to me a lot of times when it comes to our music.
Yeah.
It's just stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
It's groundbreaking. I'm just thankful I got a chance. I remember, do we have enough time?
We want to take a break and we'll be right back.
Okay.
So you was telling us about Grandmaster Flash. Tell us some history about this, but you know a lot of people don't know. These kids, they don't know half the stuff that they should know.
Grandmaster Flash is one of the 3 pioneers who started hip hop, and in his own words, he said, "I didn't create this thing." He said, "I'm just a vessel that pushed it along, with scratching." But what he did come up with was the quick mix theory and finding the beat. But to go back in history, I remember as a child, a young child, my mother would say, "You got a cousin that's famous." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, it's music." And I would tell, my friends at school, I said, "Yeah, my cousin is Grandmaster Flash." And nobody believed me, and I didn't meet him until I became a teenager and it came over. But, and we had a chance to talk and everything. And then when he saw I could draw, he was amazed at it. years later, he was doing tours. He was doing some tours out of town, and he was asking me, "Can you create something, for this current tour I had?" I think he was going to Japan, and I had come up with a quick image of him rotating 2 records on his thing, and I wrote the Grandmaster Flash and everything, which he had sweaters and stuff made, did it in Japan. And since that day, like from time to time, he would come back and have me draw different things pertaining to his tour. As I grew and everything, he always wanted me to, he said, "Can you rap?" I said, "No, I can't. I don't know how to rap." He said, "Because you got to look, you'll become a good rapper. You don't rap?" Right. He said, okay. But when he seen I can draw, that's when, he would utilize me for a lot of different things. Invited me to a lot of parties, had me around the scene, got to meet a lot of celebrities in order to push my work. He sponsored one of my art exhibits. Okay. And now we're going to have the opportunity to actually do a book together, which I'm thrilled. I was like, awesome. I said, "This is so awesome that I get to illustrate your story on how it happened, through my hands." Yeah. And I said, I'm honored. I get to make history with my cousin. So, so this year being the 50th anniversary of hip hop.
Don't y'all forget, the 50th anniversary is this month.
Yeah, this is it. I'll be working on releasing the book.
Okay.
So, cool.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. I think I'm going to come up with something because you said it's for the month of February. I'm going to come up with something. So look out for that. Going to be some crazy stuff because you know how I do. I'm excited. And you got to let me know that information because I'm definitely going to get a group of my friends together and we come down and support you. We got to support her.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's all about, supporting each other. That's what the show is about. That's just what it is to be a creator.
Yes.
A lot of times people don't get that. They think, like I said before, they don't think about it. They just be like, I'm just going to do it because I saw somebody do it and I think I got to do it. You got to love this thing.
It's a lot of time you put into this craft, and all of us, in my opinion, I believe all of us have a gift. Once you find that gift, it's work. It's work, or that gift will fade. Even me as an artist, there were times where I may have, I just did it as a hobby. A lot of ideas that I had but never did anything with. Years later, I saw them. I saw them, and I think we're all deposited. A gift is always deposited in each one of us, and if you do nothing with it, it moves. Yeah. It goes somewhere else, because it was something. And I was like, I never showed this artwork, yet someone came up with the same idea that I had. And I seen it live and breathe and become famous, and I'm like, wow. So that was motivation for me. Like, I'm giving this gift, utilize the gifts. And especially when my son came along at 5 years old and said, "Dad, I want to make a book." It's like, okay, I got you.
Right.
So I want to make a book, and let's make this book. And from there, like I said, it brought me back to that childhood, that having that spirit, that heart to create, and here we are. Here we are. So, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. 23, as we've been able to get back out into the world. Hopefully, we're not going to be back indoors, masks back on, people get it together, but I'm excited to come out with my new collection of artworks, the books, like I said, what I'm doing with my cousin, and so much more. Eventually, we want to move on to animation, and we want to complete the Daddy Longlegs and the Inchworm series, which has a nice ending, the father and son story of how they accidentally got these powers.
Love the names.
And that was him. He came up with it. He used to love creating superheroes. Wow. And he came in the bathroom one day and showed me a new superhero, and I was like, "Why don't you turn me into a superhero?" He said, "Yeah, you could be Daddy Longlegs, and I could be the Inchworm." And I love the name too. I was like, "Wow, so that's hot, son." Yeah. But it was a month later that he drew up the concept of it and everything, and brought it to me. He said, "What you think, Dad?" 5 issues later, here we are. So, and it's been moving. It's been moving. So I'm excited to see that through, make a collector's edition, put out some new artworks and paintings, and we did a father and son exhibit last year, which was really nice. Had a nice turnout, which was held in Artscape. Nice. Shout out to Connie Drummond again.
Artscape is amazing.
Artscape is amazing, which is right on 2nd and Market Street, right in the heart of Wilmington. Please,
you gotta go check it out.
It's in an area where there's so much to do, yet not a lot of traffic, surprisingly. But if you come up there, you can always come to Artscape. Artscape's always got something going on.
And then you have that amazing gallery right up the street from there. What's the name of the gallery?
There's not Milk and, is it Milk and Honey? Milk and Honey.
Oh, it took me there.
It could be the Shipley Gallery.
It's I don't remember
What
the
is it?
name
The
of it. It's right up the street
oh my
from there.
goodness,
It's a
Chris
young,
White Gallery.
and
Then
it's a
there's
lady.
the
It was her and her husband that had the gallery, and she
oh
teaches classes.
not the Eunice LaFate.
Yes.
Yes.
As soon as you said it, it came to mind.
I got a chance to when I first
I gotta get her on here.
when I first moved to Delaware, I was dropping off a book at the library.
Mm-hmm.
And when I left out the library, I saw that there was a group of people in a parking lot not too far from the library. And voice in my head said, why don't you turn over there and, see what's happening. I go over there and I meet this lady that's having a flea market.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, you could get a table. It's only $10 for a table. Forgot her name. So I bought a table and I came out there to the flea market that Saturday and put some of my artwork on the table. And this lovely woman named Eva Figueroa came up to my art table and she bought one of my pieces. But she was like, I have a friend that's an artist that's big here in Delaware. She said, I'm going to get you on the list because she's receiving an award at the governor's. She's receiving the governor's award at the Queen. And, I think it'd be nice for you to go. And I got a chance to go and I took my wife and we went there and I got to see Miss Eunice LaFate receive the governor's award along with some other artists, musicians, actors, and so on and so forth. And I got a chance to meet her afterwards. But since then, we have made a wonderful friendship. She is a wonderful mentor. I call her the queen of the block on Market Street. Her art is folk art, which has been exhibited in so many different exhibits, and a lot of people own one. She said,
it's her heart from me.
Yeah, beautiful.
And we came in there. He took me there so that way he took me like on a little tour.
Yeah.
And we went there, and she was so nice to let us come in. It was during COVID.
Yeah.
And she shared with me about the classes that she teaches the children.
Yeah.
Even her own story, her and her husband.
Yes.
I'm definitely going to have to get. So if she sees this.
Yeah.
I would love to, even if I come to the gallery and we can do something there. So
wow.
That's my plug.
She's very inspirational to me, and she says that she's a fan of my work. So that was like, oh. She said, your work is so powerful, and you're fearless in your painting, because she has a West Indian accent.
You ready to do your voice.
She's fearless in your paintings, and you're wonderful. She said, I've got to get some of your books for my grandson. She's beautiful.
Yeah,
she's a beautiful spirit. Yeah.
As soon as you started talking about Market Street, she came. I could picture her face in my mind.
Yeah.
That's what's up. That is what's
up. So again, I've been fortunate to meet a lot of creative artists and it's wonderful because that iron sharpens iron when it comes down to this. So as I create and rub off of other artists and talk with other artists, we keep moving.
Yeah.
This doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, because a lot of times we don't realize how we need each other.
That's right.
And that's how I was feeling today. Even coming down here, I was so excited. I was like, oh, let's see my brothers. Let's see them. We're going to get in the studio. We're going to create, and that is so needed. You fail to realize that a lot of times.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you guys, that's it for us today. But you got to follow us. Follow us all the time. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m., The Gathering Place. I'm telling you, this is how we grow. This is how we make it happen. See you next time right here.